Everyone on the Harmony's edge knew the rule. Stay away from Princess Sayla. It wasn't printed in any diplomatic handbook, but it lived in the hushed whispers and careful glances of the crew. People would cross entire corridors just to avoid her. Ambassadors rehearsed smiles they would never actually use. Even the ship's own AI seemed to lower its synthesized voice when announcing her arrival. Lieutenant Cole Merrick heard all the warnings on his very first day. The xenolinguist leaned in and whispered, "She's dangerous." The head of security was more blunt. Unpredictable. A junior diplomat from a faraway system even muttered, "Cursed," while making a strange, superstitious sign with his hands. Cole nodded politely at each one and then promptly forgot all of it. Because Cole Merrick had two defining traits. He was exceptionally good at forgetting important things, and he had a real talent for being in the wrong place at the wrong time, which is how he found himself sitting all alone at the far end of the grand diplomatic banquet. The hall was a breathtaking sight. Floating lights glittered through crystalline banners that hung in the air. Representatives from over 100 different species were seated in a carefully arranged hierarchy of power. The strongest civilizations naturally occupied the central tables. But Cole, a simple human logistics officer with absolutely no political value, had been placed way back by the emergency exits. He was just beginning to regret his choice of the rubbery alien ceremonial protein when the entire room fell silent. Princess Sayla had entered. She was taller than most humans, her skin a smooth, pale gray marked with faint silver veins that pulsed slowly, like starlight captured beneath stone. Her robes shimmered, shifting between dark and light, woven from materials that Cole's own implants couldn't even identify. But it was her eyes that were the most striking, pure metallic silver reflecting nothing. The entire hall held its breath. Sayla of the Ash Nebula, the last heir of a fallen empire, the princess whose presence was rumored to precede unexplained accidents, sudden political collapses, and at least 3 unsolved disappearances. She walked with an unnerving grace, passing the strongest warriors in the galaxy. Past admirals, past emperors, past all the people who mattered. And then she stopped, right beside Cole. She turned, and she sat down. The silence in the room became almost a physical pressure. Cole just stared at his plate, absolutely convinced that if he so much as twitched, the universe would take notice and simply end him right there. Then she spoke. Her voice was soft, controlled, not threatening at all. "Do you believe the stories they tell about me?" Cole looked up. Every protocol, every bit of training screamed at him to deflect, to avoid the question, to lie politely. Instead, his mouth did what it always did when he was terrified. He said the first thing that came to mind. "Which ones?" A ripple of pure shock moved through the hall. Sayla studied him, really studied him. Then, to the complete astonishment of every diplomat present, a small smile touched her lips. "They say I am cursed," she said, "that I bring ruin, that anyone who grows close to me will suffer." Cole actually considered this for a moment. "Well," he said slowly, "people say humans are loud, violent, and incapable of subtle thought. And yet here I am, sitting quietly, eating something that tastes a lot like sadness." A few of the more delicate diplomats actually fainted, but Sayla laughed. It wasn't a cruel or sharp sound, it sounded relieved. "They avoided you on purpose," Cole added, trying to get the words out before his courage completely vanished. "That usually means they're afraid, and fear doesn't always mean danger." Sometimes it just means pain. Her smile faded. You see more than you should, she said. My job, Cole replied, is making sure cargo arrives where it's needed. You learn to notice what's missing. The music in the hall hesitantly started up again, confused. Conversations restarted in hushed, urgent tones, but all eyes were now watching the outcast human and the untrustworthy princess. Sayla leaned closer, her voice now a quiet whisper only he could hear. My people were not destroyed by war, she said. They were erased by alliances, by those who smiled just like this room does now. Cole felt a sudden chill. They blame me because I survived, she continued. Because every treaty I touch reminds them of their guilt. So they call you dangerous, Cole said, the pieces clicking into place. Yes? He just nodded. That tracks. She raised a brow ridge in surprise. You are not afraid, Cole just shrugged. Humans have a saying. If everyone agrees on who the villain is, it's usually because the truth is inconvenient. For the first time that night, Sayla's silver eyes seemed to soften, losing their metallic edge. The next day, the rumors spread like plasma fire. The princess had officially requested Cole Merrick as her human liaison. Security protested. Diplomats panicked. Command came close to revoking Cole's clearance entirely. But Sayla was unmoved. He treats me like a person, she said simply. That is rare. So Cole found himself escorting her through the ship, enduring death stares from ambassadors and listening to whispered bets on how long he'd survive. He began to learn the truth in fragments. Sayla wasn't cursed. She was truth-bound. Her species had evolved a unique biological trait that resonated with probability fields. Lies literally destabilized around her. Corrupt systems failed. Hidden treachery surfaced. Empires that thrived on deception simply collapsed when she was near. So they destroyed her people, and then they blamed her for it. You don't hide from it, Cole observed one night as they watched the stars slide past a viewport. No, Sayla replied, I endure it. Cole frowned. That's not the same thing. The crisis came just 3 days later. A massive coalition summit was underway to discuss a new defense pact. The leaders were all smiling, the words were all perfect. But there was a hidden clause, one that would have redirected entire fleets away from a vulnerable refugee system, leaving them defenseless. Sayla felt it the moment the words were spoken. The room itself began to malfunction. Lights flickered, holograms glitched and broke apart, diplomatic implants overheated, causing gasps of pain. Panic erupted. They'll blame you, Cole said quietly amidst the chaos. I know, she replied. He stood up. Then let them blame a human too. Cole accessed the ship's public channel. His voice was steady and clear. Attention. There's a clause in this treaty designed to sacrifice civilian worlds for strategic positioning. I recommend you reread Section 7. There was outrage, denial, shouting, and then silence, because he was right. The treaty collapsed. So did 3 political careers. The council stared at Sayla, then at Cole, and for the first time their fear gave way to something else entirely. Respect. Later, as security escorted them out of the chaotic hall, Sayla asked him softly, Why did you stand with me? Cole thought for a moment. Because someone once told humanity to stay quiet, stay small, and stay away from problems bigger than us. And you didn't? She asked. He smiled. No. We sat down next to them. The stories changed after that. They stopped calling Princess Sayla cursed. They started calling her necessary. And they started warning each other about humans, too. If one of them sits beside you, the new saying went, "It's already too late to lie." Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.